All right. So this will be an audio only episode, just a heads up. We may start doing more audio only episodes just because this team, the deeper we get into the season, the more the more worthless the Yankees get. Like it's useless to spend all of my energy 2 times a week, setting up the video camera, the lighting, and all that. And a lot of the time it's just way easier to just do audio. So we might see more of these as we wrap up the 2023 season, which can't conclude quick enough. So just a heads up before we get into the show, audio only. But let's talk episode 549 of the podcast. The Yankees get swept by the Braves, and we'll hit on a lot of things. We were not going to go into too much detail. I'm not saying the episode is going to be short, because it probably won't. We have a lot of things to bring up, but I'm not going to go into too much detail on a lot of those topics just because I've been very, very busy lately between work and school, scheduling my classes for the fall and stuff like that. So I don't have the time to take all my notes and make sure I want to cover everything I need to cover or dive deep and analyze it all that much. So with that all out of the way, let's get to the intro and start this episode 549. Let's do more Yankees. Welcome to BD4, an RJ Carbone podcast. BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. BD4 is a 5-star show on Apple Podcasts, also available in video format on YouTube and Spotify. So thanks for stopping by, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Champion of the world, turning, looking, see ya! Anthony for three, bang! That one goes down, and the game is tied! Time!
Penetrates, creates, and showing some dexterity as well with the left hand.
Yankees win!
All right, welcome to the show, episode 549 of the podcast, I believe. Should be up in the title anyway, if I'm wrong. Yeah, we're talking more Yankees. Before we do, I was on social media, and I think it was from the Talking Baseball Instagram page. I saw that the Texas Rangers started doing a roll call. Apparently, one of these games, the past couple nights. There's a lot of opinion on it. They're having a nice season. I think it's good for them. It's something fun for them. It's cute. But it's you probably should win shit first before you could do something like that. I don't know, man. I saw that. I figured I'd give my brief opinion on that because everybody wants to share their opinion nowadays. I don't know. I just feel like that's always been a Yankee thing, and it doesn't really feel the same when anybody else does it. Like 40, 50,000 fans every night in New York City chanting your name hits a little bit different than, 25, 30,000 fans in the middle of hot-ass redneck Texas. I don't know. It's just, does anybody really care out there? I don't know. I saw that. It didn't seem electric at all to me. And it's crazy because even in this season we're in, the Yankees are still doing the roll call. Last week they were doing it at the home series. So and it's still just as loud, just as electric, and it feels just as good, and it's really cool every time. So I saw the Texas Rangers start doing it, their fans, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of cringe. Certain things are meant for certain, organizations, and this was one of them where I was just like, yeah, that's probably a Yankee thing. And you don't have to. This isn't me being an asshole Yankees fan, although I love that. I would say the same thing if this was even a Mets thing, and the Yankees started doing something like that. Like, no, this is this is one of those things where I think you should probably keep it into to inside the one team that does it. Just I don't know, Texas really. In New York City though, in September, the Yankees will be holding their 75th Old Timers Day. The 25th anniversary of the 1998 team will be celebrated with 28 guys on that roster from the 98 team. And one of the new guys from that 98 team that's going to be joining the Old Timers Day ceremony is Derek Jeter. And I saw that and I'm like, oh man, how much are the Yankees paying him to come to this? And good for him. It's going to be nice to see him there. It sucks that there's no game. There hasn't been a game since pre-COVID. I don't know why we're not doing one still. I mean, it's that was kind of the whole point. It was pretty cool to see them out there. But now I guess we're just seeing them, half jog if they can even. Most of them just walk out on the field, wave to the fans, stand in line, and go back and do whatever they do. But yeah, no, Jeter is invited. Bernie Williams not there. I don't see his name on the roster. Maybe he's got something going on, but I always felt he should be part of that. Jeter, Pettit, Posada, Rivera core four. But yeah, you got Jeter on here. You got Mike Stanton, a new addition. Not Giancarlo Stanton, Mike Stanton, but Mike Stanton. Was he a former reliever? Jeff Nelson's returning. Ryan Bradley is a newcomer from the 98 team who'll be there. Mariano's returning. Tim Raines, Randolph. And then you got guys, from other Yankees teams like Charlie Hayes and Mickey Rivers and Roy White. The Munson family, the Diana Munson's always there. Hideki Matsui's going to be there again. I think last season was his first. So yeah, Billy Martin's widow, Jill Martin. So John Flaherty, I see on this list here. Wow, was he? Actually, he might have been there last year. Ron Guidry, Bucky Dent, Brian Doyle, Jesse Barfield. So yeah, it's I don't know. It just feels like a distraction by the Yankees. Hey, look, it's especially with no game. I don't know how much I really give a damn. Yeah, I'm not in good graces with the Yankees right now, if you couldn't tell. And to make it worse, we have this what's this A1 Padel shit the Yankees are investing in now? Hal's got a soccer team. Now he's got Star Insurance, and now he's got this. The Yankees are just a brand. They're Hal's corporate business. I mean, you've got a team that sits in last place, below 500, out of the postseason race practically, and we're sponsoring some random insurance company, and now this Padel, is it a race car thing? Randy Levine was up there spewing bullshit about things he doesn't even believe in this press conference. Like, Yes Network was promoting this on their pages. It's like, who gives a fuck? This is ridiculous. The Yankees are literally just a brand now. They're no longer a historic, successful baseball mecca. And on the third topic, before we head into the actual series against the Braves, or I guess a fourth topic, I don't know if anybody else saw. I'm sure everybody else saw because it had been blowing up on Twitter. But anybody who is listening to the show, I'm not sure if you saw or heard about the Michael Kay show when there was a clip from it where Rosenberg actually was pressing him a little bit about like Cashman and the Yankees, and Kay has some takes that I love. every once in a while he'll come out and say something, where it's like, wow, okay, nice, Michael K. But then he has a lot of times where he's just like, and I hate to say it because he hates it, but he's very Yankee boy, And this was one of those moments where Rosenberg goes, he says to him something like, they do this all the time. Like Cashman, I don't know. You got to go fucking watch it. And Kay got really angry over it. He's like, no, they're not like this all the time. Blah, blah, blah. And they won 90-something games last year. They were in the ALCS. And in the, Peter's like, well, they got swept in the ALCS. Does it really matter? And yeah, it's one of my whole big things. Like, if you're truly World Series or bust, what does the round mean? If you're World Series or bust, not winning the World Series is the same thing, technically, as not making the postseason. You're not winning the World Series. That's literally nothing. That's bust. That's the bust part. So anyway, if you didn't see that clip, go check it out, because Peter says one thing, and then you could just see Kay very sensitive over it, and it got to him, which is good. And so props to Peter for, not backing down. Let's recap this godforsaken sweep. Yankees Braves. When we return from break, stay with us.
We appreciate you sticking around and listening so far. When you have a chance, be sure to open YouTube to subscribe, like, and comment. And if you're already watching on YouTube, be sure to head over to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. We appreciate your feedback and are always looking to improve. Now, with that all said, let's get you back to the show.
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. Monday, we're going to go through these quickly. The Yankees lost to the Braves in the opener on Monday, 11-3. Clark Schmidt against Max Fried. Top of the first, the Yankees scored a measly run. First and third with no outs. Then they also had bases loaded with 1 out, and they get 1 run off of a Bader ground ball out. That was it in the first. They had a big opportunity. Ground ball RBI. Braves answered back in the bottom of the first. The Austin Riley home run, solo bomb, 1-1. Top of the second, Yanks keep it competitive. They did get another, this time Oswaldo Cabrera infield single through the right side of the infield with 2 outs, or left side. He ends up stealing second. IKF rips the RBI single, though he's caught going 2. But it's 2-1 Yankees, and here we go. But in the bottom of the second, Clark Schmidt gets smacked around, and he walks Ozuna. You get the Rosario double. Then Nicky Lopez from the World Baseball Classic rips a 2-run single. This was a perfect swing that you don't get from any of these Yankees. Like, he got his hands in and he slapped it the other way down the line, and that made it 3-2 Braves. And then he steals second base, and you get a mound visit. That didn't help, because right after the mound visit, Harris slices it the other way for an RBI single. It's 4-2. And this inning was kind of a tease for the next inning for Clark Schmidt, because in the bottom of the third, Clark gets lit the fuck up and then some. He had second and third already, and then you get, I think Ozuna doubles to make it second and third. And then you get the Rosario 2-run single. Bader takes a tough route to the ball. It's 6-2 Braves, and then it just piles on. Arcia rips the RBI single. Higashioka can't handle the throw home. 7-2. Lopez the RBI base hit again. 8-2. Schmidt's knocked out of the game. Hamilton comes in, gets into trouble, but then he ends up pitching well for 2 2/3 innings. Abreu pitched the final 3 innings and allows 3 runs on 7 base runners. And the Yankees lose 11-3. So Schmidt, 2 1/3, 8 runs, 9 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and a home run. He was absolutely terrible. Leaving pitches up, everything seemed flat, and just a ton of line drives. Line drives galore. He gives up a ton of extra base hits, and he has all year, I will say that. But in this one, unlike a lot of his other starts this year. And this one, he was not able to get out of it. So this was a regression game because he had been so good for so long. Since May, he had only just one start where he allowed more than 3 runs. So this made 2. So it's going to happen. Clark Schmidt is still on my list. I would bring him back as a number 5 pitcher next year for the Yankees. I still think he's a solid guy, and hopefully he bounces back next time. In the bats for the Yankees, Connor Falefa had 3 hits and RBI. Volpe, couple hits, a double, triple, and RBI. Judge and Oswaldo, 2 hits each. Oswaldo with a stolen base. Bader, 1 for 4, and RBI, picked off at first base as well in this game. And the Yankees in total had 3 runs on 11 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. And that was the first game of the series. The second game of the series, the Yankees lose on Tuesday 5-0. Severino pitches against Elder, and what do you think happens? Bottom of the first, right off the bat, Sevy does his thing. Ronald Acuna leadoff single. Sevy tries to pick him off. He misfires, and Acuna advances. Then you get the Matt Olson 2-out walk. Ozuna comes up to the plate next. He hits the 3-run bomb, a 442-foot blast to dead center field. And all of a sudden, Luis Severino puts the Yankees in a 3-0 hole before he could even think. Rosario walks after that. You get a mound visit, a hit batter. And then he gets out of it, but the bottom of the third comes and he issues another bomb. Connor Falefa makes the E5, yes, but it's your job as a starting pitcher to have your team's back when they make mistakes, and he didn't. Acuna comes to the plate, and he smacks a 2-out, 2-run home run later in the inning, and this was a 420-foot bomb to center field. And all of a sudden, it was 5-0 Atlanta. Harris singles. You get a mound visit for the second time, and then all of a sudden, that's it. Sevy is done after 4 innings. So, the Yankees don't do a damn thing offensively either, and they lose 5-0. No runs, 1 hit, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts, 4 double plays grounded into. That's nice. 0 for 1 in scoring position because they couldn't even get into those situations. And they had 2 errors. They had more errors in this game than they did hits. They had 14 ground ball outs. DJ LeMahieu was the lone hit, single in the second inning. It was pathetic, some would say. And yeah, Severino, 4 innings, 5 runs, 3 earned runs, 2 home runs. I mean, in the second and third, I think, I don't know, 2 innings where he didn't pitch like garbage. Well, I mean, you know, Yes Network hyped him up because of that too. Like, Cone and K were just, I don't know with the Yankee propaganda, but it got bad. Like, Cone and K were out there singing soliloquies. K's like, I know I'm gonna sound crazy for this, but I didn't even think he pitched all that bad, and I think it was a step in the right direction. And then Cone goes on this, what felt like a 10-minute tangent about how Severino is going to be okay, and it's just a little bit of a small sample size and this and that. And it's like, no, dude. He's 15 starts into this. He's giving up bombs. He's leaving everything up. Do you ever think maybe it's just not going to work out? It's insane, if you go back and listen to that game, how pathetic they sounded. The guy came into the game with an 8 ERA. He allowed 3 earned in 4 innings, and his ERA actually went down because of that. So because of Luis Severino, because of him, the Yankees fall to below 500. Or they actually, in this game, they fell to 500, which was at the time the first time they've fallen below, or they've fallen to 500 this deep into the season since September of 95. And they fell below 500 in the final game of the series. Wednesday, the Braves took it 2-0. Another scoreless game for the Yankees. They don't score runs. Like, they actually don't. Like, that's not an exaggeration anymore. Randy Vasquez, in his final game up here, Yeah, I'm not crying. That was just a voice crack. Pitched against Charlie Morton. Guy Yankees could have had. Bottom of the second, the Braves crack first on 2 Vasquez fastballs. He leaves one to Ozuna. He doubles, and then Rosario hits the two-run home run. Vasquez goes 3 1/3. Top of the second, the Yanks strand 2. They have first and second with 1 out. Falefa, he goes down. He's swinging at a curve in the dirt. And then McKinney also strikes out. That low Charlie Morton curveball, swinging at it down in the zone. So, out of the zone. So, the Yankee bats don't really do much at all. Top of the 6th, they strand another runner. Volpe, 1-out single. He gets the second on the wild pitch. But Higashioka and LeMahieu end the inning with groundouts to Matt Olson at first. Morton goes 6 innings. The Yankees don't do shit against their bullpen either, and they lose. No runs, 4 hits, 0 for 4 in scoring position, and 13 strikeouts. Yeah. So in this series, the Yankees, a total of 3 runs, 16 hits, 2 extra base hits, 8 walks, 7 double plays, 22 strikeouts, 1 for 12 in scoring position, and 2 errors. So if you average that out for those 3 games, they averaged 1 run per game, a 182 batting average, 2.7 walks per game, 2.3 double plays grounded into per game, 7.3 strikeouts, and an 0.83 average with runners in scoring position. So, pathetic, yeah, but not shocking. And honestly, this is what they are. Aaron Boone, after Tuesday's loss, where the Yankees got caught on the bases some more. IKF trying for a double. Bader got caught at first base, and there might have been another one, but I forget because it's always 2-3 times a night. But Boone was asked about it, and he goes, "It seems like it's more than most teams where we get," I'm paraphrasing, "where we get caught stealing. But it's not. It only seems like it's this bad because of the situation they get caught in. Because of the situation of the game." And then just, to make this complete poetry, Katie Sharp tweets after this. She puts it on Twitter. The Yankees are 9th in being caught on the bases this year. They've been caught on the bases the 9th most in baseball, and that excludes caught stealing, where they're 6th. So you add that in, and that's pretty terrible. I mean, David Cone said during the telecast the Yankees are the worst base running team in ball. Like, oh man, it was a bad quote by Boone, but that's what he does. And he tried clarifying it on John Boy Tuesday night or Tuesday afternoon. Threw a lot of bullshit in there, just talking in circles, a bunch of jargon. But man, it looked bad. I will say maybe he also took a shot at Cashman in this same post game. He made comments about like the Braves lineup and how complimentary those guys all are and how great of hitters they are. So that might have been like a slight shot at upper management. And I was like, okay, maybe he's not that bad. But then on Wednesday, the Yankees get swept, and Aaron Boone's in the post game mentioning teams like the Nationals, the Braves, and the Phillies, as ball clubs that went on runs and got to World Series and won some. Like those teams, first of all, those teams got into the playoffs. The Yankees aren't getting into the playoffs. The Nationals in 2019 placed 2nd in their division. They had the first wild card. They were 93-69, and they played .700 ball in the final 2 months. The Braves in 2021, they were division winners by 7 games. They also had a hot final 2 months of the year. The Phillies in 2022, first of all, they lost the World Series. But here's one. They fired their manager, and as soon as that happened, they went on a run and started winning. That would have been nice. But the one positive you can at least take from that is Boone there. He's acknowledging that this team now has to get really, really hot to have a shot, which they won't. But, before that, it's in us. It's right in front of us. This is the team. We have the utmost confidence. These are my guys. We're going to do this. But now it's like shifted to, well, we can have one of those unlikely runs. So I think you're seeing the shift in his mentalities. He's kind of finally accepting that this team probably isn't that good. And actually, if you watch that Tuesday interview with John Boy, you could tell by Boone's energy, his demeanor, he seems like he's accepting the fact that this team just isn't doing shit this year. So if that's my Boone segment of the show, which, hey, we've bitched about him before. Most of that was me trying to reason with him. There's not a lot of good things happening right now. The Yankees keep losing, which is starting to be good because maybe that's going to force change. But you're seeing them losing and guys on the top of the dugout smiling, judges out there smiling. Kind of annoys me. It's always annoyed me. It always will annoy me. And he made his post-game comments saying, like, I'll back my skipper and it's right in front of us. He literally said that. I think he's trolling the fans. I think he's maybe trolling Boone. He was kind of laughing as he said it. But you also heard about Judge that he's not getting the surgery. They don't plan on giving him the surgery even in the offseason, which I don't love that. We know how this could work, right? Would anybody be shocked if he comes into camp in the best shape of his life? The Yankees hype it up with bullshit comments and yes promos, and one of these days earlier in the year, next year, he says he's not feeling great, misses a game, then he goes day to day. They say it's nothing, it's just precautionary, and boom, he'll be out until August. Like, I would just prefer him right now, too, not even in the offseason, right now to get the surgery. Get a head start. But, we're not going to do a whole spiel with cap tips and stuff like that, but, I'll tip my cap to Volpe. Had a good series. Extra base hits, some RBIs, getting on base. I think at this point in the year, again, the season's a wash. You're not doing anything this season. You're not going anywhere. We should start leading off Anthony Volpe. Get him more reps. Get him more at-bats this way. And this way he could be more comfortable at the leadoff spot for next season and in the future. Because I think he should be that guy eventually if he is developed properly. But I'm tipping my cap to Volpe, who's on his way to a 2020 season slowly but surely. Randy Vasquez, I'll tip my cap to him. 3 1/3 innings, 2 runs, 2 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, a home run, 60 pitches, 63% strikes, and the loss. I can't believe I'm talking about a guy with that line as the best starting pitcher of the series, but that's where we are in the Yankee season. I like Vasquez. I think he's got some solid potential. A sixth starter, a spot man. If you kick Herman to the curb, he can kind of be the new Herman. I like that he pitches inside a lot. He's got good velocity on his pitches. But again, he was optioned after this game. Actually, I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but yeah, he was optioned back to AAA after this game. And just today, we get word. And today, as I'm recording, it's Friday, August 18th, by the way. About to start up a series with Boston. He was optioned for Greg Weissert, which is funny. Not even like a prospect, just Greg Weissert. And then lastly, in the bullpen, we'll tip our cap to King. He had a really, really, really good series where he pitched, 3 2/3 innings, and he was shutout baseball. The strikeouts were there. He looked good. I want to talk about a few more things. One of them being comments made by a former Yankee prospect. And we'll do that when we return from break. It'll be interesting to talk about this. Stay with us. Be right back here on the show.
You can also find us on social media. If you'd like, you can follow BD4 on Facebook, and we're at BD4Pod on both Instagram and Twitter. We appreciate you helping us grow more and more every day. Let's get back to it.
So a kid named Ben Ruta, who was a former Yankees prospect a few years back, it was like before 2020, I think, or that was his last year in the system. He commented on the live stream in the Foul Territory show, the podcast, with, I think it's Todd Frazier and AJ Brzezinski and what's the dude on MLB Network? Drawing a blank, but him too. Scott Braun. And they were talking, and Ben Ruta, former Yankee prospect, commented in the live stream, and he had some words to say. Basically, to sum it up, saying there's no baseball being taught down below in the Yankee farm. And it kind of makes sense. I mean, we talk about this a lot. The Yankees develop all of these great minor league hitters, but it's not often that they translate into great major league hitters. I mean, you can't name a single Yankee prospect since they went heavy with the analytics 2018, 2019, who has come up to the majors and had success. And the ones that did come up and thrive first, they all regressed as soon as the Yankees went heavy on analytics. We've had guys like Sanchez come up, thrive, never be the same before. He's now thriving in San Diego, by the way, has an 800 OPS, and I think I heard on the Bronx Pinstripe show, I think it was, has the same amount of home runs per at-bat than Judge this year. Gleyber Torres regressed big time from when he first came up. Try turning him into a power hitter. Not his thing. Estevan Florial, a former number one prospect on the Yankees, one of baseball's top prospects. He did not pan out. He's out there in the minors striking out 30-something% of the time. Davy Garcia, I mean, this was the next Pedro Martinez. And Eric Kratz had some comments on him recently. Like, look what's happening to all these guys. Jorge Mateo was a number one prospect. Blake Rutherford, Justice Sheffield, and Chance Adams were big one year. My Christ. And look at guys who have panned out, like an Aaron Judge. Judge came up, struck out 50% of the time as a rookie. He had to go outside of the organization, hire a private hitting coach to find his swing. You got that happening. You got the thing with Anthony Volpe this year. He had to meet with Austin Wells over dinner to tweak his goddamn mechanics in his swing, man. His batting stance had to change, and that came from his teammate in AAA. So, yeah, I mean, he says that the Yankees, this Ben Ruta guy was saying how the Yankees have these mini games that they play down there in practice where it solely focuses on things like exit velocity and the true outcomes. Like everything we always talk about here. This game with a medicine ball where, I don't know, I guess you throw it for a few minutes and then you swing the bat, and that's supposed to help increase your exit velo. They have this other game where the sole focus is to either draw a walk or hit the ball 95 miles per hour or higher. You can't get points any other way than those two outcomes. He's saying that they just don't focus on situational hitting. Like there's no hit it behind the runner on first base. There's no first and third less than 2 outs. There's no preparation for that kind of thing. There's no baseball stuff being taught. It's launch angle. It's all that crap. And old man or not, this is coming from a guy who was with the Yankees before and after the heavy analytical takeover. So, and if you think about it, the first full year where the Yankees went heavy on analytics in 2019, that was the same year where the balls were very, very, very incredibly juiced. So maybe the Yankees just got duped by that. And you had Kratz on there in that episode kind of criticizing Gillen Lawson and all these college coaches that come in here and change shit up. It's great stuff, and it's worth a listen. Go follow the Foul Territory podcast. So really interesting stuff to hear that, and it's refreshing to hear because it's something I've been bitching and complaining about, and to know that, you know, an actual professional baseball player has those same feelings makes me feel better about myself, that maybe I'm not just talking nonsense this entire time, you know. But yeah, this team has a lot to fix, and I wanted to go over this one Japanese player. I don't know if he's a star over there, but this kid, Jung-Ho Lee, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly. We're going to dive into him next episode. I've been meaning to get to him last few episodes, but again, I just don't have the time to get into a bunch of things right now, but he could be an option as an outfielder. We'll talk about him another day, hopefully in this upcoming episode after the Boston series, where the Yankees will probably get swept too. But I just think it's beyond that. Like this is the thing that, realistically speaking, with how the Yankees now operate, probably can't be fixed in one offseason. This will take another year maybe, unless the Yankees nut up, go be the Yankees of old, and they spend some more, spend further, and they find ways to move guys that nobody wants, and they part ways with guys that, for whatever reason, they may not want to. Like, unless they do all this stuff, I don't see it improving in one offseason. Like, how are you going to move Giancarlo Stanton? He's 34 years old in November. He's still owed $118 million over the next 4 years. He can't run. He can't play a position, or he can't put any type of torque on his lower body. In the last 2 seasons, between this year and last year, Stanton's batting .207 with a .292 OBP, a .455 slugging, a .747 OPS. That's across 181 games. And so between this and last year, he's missed, that means 102 games already. You aren't finding a trade partner for that. You're just not. The only thing he has left is power, right? Run production. But that's not enough for all the flaws that come with it at this point. I don't see them finding anybody who wants to pay for that. How are you moving DJ LeMahieu? He's going to be 36 next year. He still has 3 more years at $15 million each. He's very slow on the bases. The bat speed looks gone. He's striking out a ton. There's no more pop in his bat. In the last 3 seasons now, from 2021 to today, DJ, .259 average, .344 on base, a .369 slug, and a .713 OPS. Mediocre. He's been injury prone again. His last good season was in the COVID year, and his last one before that was during, again, the juiced balls in 2019. So I don't see it happening. Sure, he plays versatile defense, but for $45 million, you want to pay for that? You want to pay $45 million for basically Andrelton Simmons? Like, you know, do you see the Yankees making all these changes? Do you see, realistically, do you see the Yankees signing Ohtani? Because I don't. I see Hal giving you some bullshit about resetting the luxury tax for a 3rd year in a row. Do you see them even going for the next best option in Cody Bellinger? Letting Bader walk, telling Domingo Germán to fuck off? Do you see them signing Giolito? Do you see them going out and signing Heimer Candelario after that? Do you see them moving those 2 guys we just talked about? Do you see them developing Dominguez properly to be ready and effective for 2024? Do you see all of that happening? All of that. Do you see it happening? Because that's probably all that needs to happen for the Yankees to at least be competitive next year. Shit, I would not be surprised if they offered Severino a 1-year prove-it-to-me deal. I could so see them spinning some crap. So I don't trust Cashman the slightest bit to do any of this. And that's a problem because he's going to remain here. Cashman's here, and as much as we all want that cuck manager to be out of a job, even if he does get canned, it's not changing the fact that this general manager can't build a contending roster anymore. Cashman's going to make the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Fame GM, but even those guys overstay their welcome sometimes. So I don't see much happening. Let's head to our final break, get back, and we'll wrap it up with our question of the day. Stay with us here on the show. Episode 4 or 549 of BD4. I'm your host. We'll be right back.
If you have time in the day or maybe just prefer old-fashioned reading over listening, then you can always follow along and subscribe to BD4 Blog by going to bd4blog.com. We're not on there as often, but when we do post, it's just as entertaining, opinionated, and passionate as we are on this podcast. Thank you so much. And let's keep on with the show. Studio 69 Productions is a production company that allows content creators of all genres to market their podcast or whatever project they're working on. It's an online platform that will promote your content no problem. All you have to do is get in touch with film director and podcast producer Leo Rodriguez from Say No More Podcast, and you're good to go. You can find him on Instagram at Studio 69NJ, Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born.
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. And you're listening to episode 549 of the podcast. Yeah. Let's wrap this up. Let's get to our question of the day. And that'll be that after. Let's go. All right, so for this episode 549, our NYY-NYK-MMA Trivia Question of the day is: on April 26, 2005, which Yankee had 3 home runs and 10 RBIs against Bartolo Colon of the Angels? All right, on April 26th, 2005, which Yankee had 3 home runs and 10 RBIs against Bartolo Colon of the Angels? So let me know the answer wherever you can reach me. If you get the answer correct, I'll give you a shout out in the next episode in front of all 2 of my listeners. Guys, that's it. I appreciate you stopping by, and that's going to be it for this episode because I, don't have the energy to really dive deeper into the topics that we discussed. Just briefly went over them, and that was that. I wish I had like a producer again. Help me out. But if anybody's out there, let me know. I don't pay much. Just kidding. Not really. All right. That's it. Thank you. Later. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you. And we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees and go Knicks.